Hi, this is Doug Moench, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 205. And you are with your hyperist Khonshu Ray. Hello, and it is a waning crescent up in the night sky, so go check it out. I'm actually using the moon phases as per Cairo, so it might be slightly different depending on which part of the globe you're from. And anyway, we are back. Doing a LUNAR-PICK Classic Run review, and that will be Moon Knight, Volume 1, Issue 18, The Slayers Elite. And joining me, returning back to the show after a rest during the week, is Knol, keeping the lie alive. How are you, Knol?
Good, Ray. How are you?
Excellent.
I'm back and I'm fresh. I slept for 48 hours.
Excellent.
And now I'm opening up my floppy of this comic we're going to be covering today.
Yes, excellent. And as mentioned, yes, that issue is a Doug Moench, Sienkiewicz classic. It'll be interesting to see how this fares between Knol and myself. Now, before we get into that, of course, a big thank you to our gracious patronies, our co-producers and executive producers on each of the episodes. You can see their names in the show notes right there. So a big thank you to Daniel, Justin, Derek, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Russell, and Anthony. Thank you so much, guys. Truly, thank you for truly thankful for you keeping the lights on. Fringe Knight by Daniel Doing as well, an original indie comic based on Erie, Pennsylvania's very own mysterious superhero. Hello Headphones, empowering gamers to play at their best, and Dreamland Comics from Illinois, the superhero superstore. Now, Knol, we have this a very interesting issue to cover. It's a classic. Love having a chat with you about anything and everything as heard in the previous episode, but you definitely have a preference for classic Moon Knight, right?
I do. I just have a preference for my era really was late 70s throughout the 80s, I guess, up until the early 90s of comics. So anything from that era I usually prefer. Almost. It doesn't matter if it's Moon Knight or if it's Fantastic Four or whatever it is. It's like, this is... I can forgive a lot of things because I just love some of even the tropes of 80s comics that are so, and the ads, of course, as we always discuss whenever we do one of these.
Oh, you're privy to that, so that's good. I mean, yeah. Actually...
Yeah, even though this issue has 0 ads in it because it was, until the very end, obviously, there's some ads, but if you flip through the original floppy...
Is there... No ads. So they're missing those ads on Buy Yourself a Monkey, those sorts of weird ads back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, the first page there is, like on the other side of the cover, there's a Cracker Jack story. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. You have to always have a Cracker Jack. It's very classic.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I believe at the very end there's one for Monogram toy cars from Hot Wheels.
Oh, Hot Wheels, they're still going. So, yeah. Longevity there.
Yeah, but there's some house ads. There's one for Marvel Fanfare where it's Spidey versus... who's the mutant that turns into a pterodactyl?
Oh, Sauron.
Sauron, it looks like.
Yeah.
And then a house ad for Kazar for the next issue of Moon Knight and for the Micronauts.
Oh, the Micronauts, that didn't really last, did it? In Marvel, at least. Oh, wow.
No, in Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yes.
See, this is the nice difference that we have, loonies. So Knol is reading from the OG floppy. It's available there, of course, digitally as well on Marvel Unlimited. But I'm reading it from a trade. So for those with the video, it's the volume 2 of the Epic collection. It's Shadows of the Moon, and that collects Moon Knight 5 to 23. So plenty of ways to read this particular issue. Anyway, as always, loonies, if you haven't listened to this before, what we'll do is, Noel, if you'd be so kind as to read the bare bones, which is a synopsis, a very short one, just in case you want to understand what this issue was about. And then Noel and I will just launch into some discussions on, could be anything from writing, art, themes, characterizations, or references to any other run. And we'll cap that off with a Moon rating, vanilla, or Khonshu's rating system. Now, Noel, I'm going to, by default, give you Khonshu's one, right?
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate
Excellent.
that. Yeah, I could even read just the synopsis off the back of the floppy.
Oh, even better.
Moon Knight and Marlene set out to avenge the murder of a friend, ... and find themselves battling a conspiracy of terror.
Oh, gosh, there you go.
So that was pretty good. We're done right there. But this is Moon Knight Volume 1, number 18, released in April of 82. So it's coming up on its 40th anniversary.
Yeah. Jeez, my God.
Writer, of course, Doug Moench. Penciler, Bill Sienkiewicz. He also did the cover, Bill, and it's a wraparound cover.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's got the nice...
So
yeah.
There's Marlene with a gun being held to her head on the back cover. The inker is Steve Mitchell, colorist Christine Scheele. Letterer Janice Chiang. I'm guessing Chiang. Editor Denny O'Neill. And yeah, like you said, it's a floppy digital Marvel Limited, all the big books. And here we go. Nimrod Strange sends the Slayer's Elite, 3 assassins representing each side of the axis of the organization, after Moon Knight in Jerusalem. They strike first by abducting Marlene and Anna, who is Ben Abramov's widow. Moon Knight has to run a gauntlet through the city, defeating the members of the Elite one by one.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the only thing that happens.
Yeah? That's it. Funny, like when you were reading that as well, I because they come in threes, I guess. So the Slayer's Elite came in 3. Nimrod Strange has his own band of 3 bodyguards, which kind of opens up this thing. And again, they represent each side. Well, I think they also represent each side of the axis of the organization. So there's like one Caucasian, one African American or African woman, and then there's one Asian representation. And I don't know, thoughts, Noel, on this opening scene where he gets them to, for his own pleasure, gets to see them fight each other?
Well, I think even somebody else, there's in the text that says like he's kind of a strange person who's supposed to be an anarchist.
Yeah.
And I don't know any anarchists who would have women fight each other for their own amusement, let alone sit on a throne dressed like a cop. But yeah, it's a little stupid, I guess. But it's weird. It kind of goes from like the artwork, page 1 doesn't look so Sienkiewicz, but then page 2 and 3, like, okay, there he is.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The actual shot of Strange sitting on the throne, I was like, that looks very Sienkiewicz, kind of a Denny O'Neill kind of shot. With the weird forced perspective. That looks really cool. But I don't know, it's a good setup to let you know what's happening here.
Yeah, I think one of the things synonymous with Sienkiewicz, and you see a lot of it with Moon Knight, is, I guess, the fluidity of how he makes the bodies look. I'm not speaking so much exactly to say like that first page, not so much that, but just with Nimrod Strange slouched on the throne and stuff like that, and even then the first look of the Slayer's Elite. I don't know, that's just one of the things that I really love about Sienkiewicz, is that the art, it just, the bodies look like very like kind of loose, not.
Yeah, I mean they look human, but it looks like there's not a lot of same, you know, which is cool. Like people, like the one with all the sharp stuff. He looks very different than the big dude. They're just different body types. They're different. Like the muscles look different. Everything looks different. Even the hatching and stuff is kind of different from character to character. It looks I don't know. It looks really cool.
It is.
And I also like there's a lot of Doug Moench's like caption boxes in here are classic Doug Moench.
Yeah.
Like they're really sort of cool and poetic.
Oh yeah, I remember there's one in particular, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple that are really fun.
Yeah.
And I kind of sometimes wish that there are some thought balloons in here and a little over dialoguization, if that's a word.
Oh, there is a bit
that I wish.
Yep.
Yeah, but that I wish it would have stuck to sort of the caption boxes instead, even for like Mark's thoughts and stuff. But you know, that's the sign of the times, I guess.
Yeah. Well, definitely the opening is dated, sign of the times.
Yeah, to say the least.
But yeah, that writing by Doug Moench. Look, there's one bit here. There's that thing where, and talking about, I guess again, sign of the times, the brutality of this. Like, they're who are they? Are they the Nimrod's factions? They come in and they slaughter a synagogue, like of people inside.
Yeah, while they're worshiping.
While they're worshipping, you see it all. But what is this thing? So if I just read this out, inside the Sabbath is ushered in at sunset with the recital of selected psalms and the Lekadodi, a 16th century Kabbalistic poem of mysticism. The bride is the Sabbath itself, and then it's got pictures here of them being all slaughtered. The bride is met dressed in crimson.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
right?
that sort of stuff.
It's really fun.
Yeah, and the layouts. I mean, if we're looking at the same page as well, we're talking jam packed. I mean, this is not uncommon with Moench and Sienkiewicz. But there's this interplay. There's that one scene where the synagogue, the massacre is happening, but it's interplayed with Mark, kind of thinking about. I guess he's thinking about his mercenary days, that sort of stuff. And the death of his friend Ben Abramov, who we know from the previous issue, he had this micro dot or something, had all this information, but he was killed by Sniper, right? And this is actually what has driven this issue, because Sniper was an assassin for Nimrod Strange. Nimrod Strange is pissed off that Moon Knight got Sniper, so he wants to get Moon Knight. That's where this comes from.
Yep.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think the writing was like the premise. Basically, that was it. So Nimrod he employs the Slayers Elite. Very colourful characters. Like, I'm surprised he didn't actually. Well, I guess they're bodyguards, but I'm surprised he didn't unleash his bodyguards on Moon Knight as well. You know, that could have been an option. But we get these three colourful characters. They all different shapes and sizes. Jujuka, I guess he's the first guy. He's more is a gun toter. And then you have again these names. I mean, where do you come up with this, Doug? Karish Beck, and I love Karish Beck. Who was I think would be my favourite. He's this kind of, I don't know. He's got this almost chic kind of look, the way he's dressed as well. But he's got these glass darts with acid in it. That's a It
fun weapon.
is a fun weapon. Schoolboy era though, like wearing those darts in front of your bare chest is not a good look.
These definitely won't blow up on my chest and
exactly. And finally, of course, there always has to be a big behemoth, Samaro or Sumaro. And his claim to fame is killing a man in 6 seconds. Nay, 5 seconds now, Nimrod. I've got it down to 5 seconds flat. Okay, so so we get a bit of a setup with them. They're pretty cool. But that's a premise. Those guys are going to draw Moon Knight out, and they're going to try and kill him.
Yeah, and they discover. Wait, did Strange already know who Moon? I mean, he's just going after Spectre. Right, he doesn't know, because one of the guys says, "Oh, Spectre is Moon Knight." Yeah,
no, I think he's going after. Oh yeah, it is to locate Mark Spectre. But I thought he was pissed off because Spectre has. Oh, of course. Sorry. Okay, jogging my memory. So I think from that issue in Switzerland, it was Mark Spectre that did away Sniper, not Moon Knight. So hence he's after Spectre. Yeah. Okay. Okay, there you go. I'm learning on the run there, listeners. But yeah,
I just like that they put 2 and 2 together, unlike any other comic with a character with a secret identity. He's like, oh, okay, Mark Spector's Moon Knight. Well, I'm going to kill him. But then, luckily, Moon Knight just takes care of him.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. The introduction of the second assassin is great though too. There's a really good Moon Knight butt shot that
when they face off. Sorry.
Yeah, on the upper left corner of the one where he's trying to stab Moon Knight, and Moon Knight just smashes the acid.
Yeah.
Great butt shot there, Bill.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, you can't get a butt shot more in your face than that. So. No, there is some really cool art here. I mean, typical Sienkiewicz as well, so kind of blessed with some really good art.
It's good action. There's really good action pieces in here, actually. It's some of his...
Oh, I love it.
Some of his best...
Yeah. Well, because...
Some of his best action stuff, I think.
Yeah. Well, see, I think some of the times...
For early Moon Knight, that is.
I mean, I think the way Moench writes it, sometimes it's not amenable to having grandiose like fights and stuff, but in this issue at least, since you have these 3 colourful assassins, I think it kind of makes for some pretty interesting scenarios. It becomes almost like a, I don't know, in a way like a kung fu thing, where he kind of goes through one stage, like that first assassin, then he goes through the second one and the third one.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, like a crime boss kind of thing. But he still doesn't he still doesn't get anywhere close to Nimrod Strange, so he's still kind of floating around there.
Yeah.
But what did you think of this setting in Jerusalem? I mean, this was an interesting decision, I guess, by Moench, but if anything, it does highlight Mark's roots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember them going into much of these other characters previously, but yeah, it at least shows that he has roots. And it's something that could be explored in the future. Yeah,
I think it was that friendship he had with Ben Abramov. And that was only, I guess in that way, it was unspoken that was their connection. I guess they were both Jewish. And anyway, so they go to meet the widow of Ben, who unfortunately passed away in a previous issue. So again, I like this continuity that Moench is doing. I don't know whether he thought, this had... I wonder if he had this story in his mind when he wrote the earlier one, or this was like I might as well bring this kind of continuity back. But I like the way that he's trying to at least tie it to the previous issues.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
For a run that didn't have a lot of continuity, it's nice to see a little.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that you don't get these days. It's more in those the classic era issues where at least they were trying to make things, continue through.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could say this is a 3-issue arc.
Yeah, for sure. And
for volume 1, that's a feat.
Yeah, that is. It's good. So actually, just jumping around here. So you're talking about that fight with Karish Beck, I think his name is, as mentioned. So there's really cool with the acid, and Moon Knight uses that to foil him, basically by burning through a hole in an awning or something, and that hits him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
takes him down, and he falls on his needles and stuff. So that would be quite a grisly death. Also, what Moench introduces, I like the use of...
These are the elite, though. I mean, these are his elite fighters, and the idiot can't think to take the acid off his chest. No. So what does that say for Nimrod Strange?
Well, he must be so arrogant to think that he would never fall into that situation. I don't know. But he does. He literally falls into it.
I don't know about you, but I fall on my chest all the time. So...
But there's also a extra little spark here that Moench introduces with Frenchie as well, because we see Frenchie taken out of the picture earlier on in a nice car chase. I mean, that was pretty cinematic.
Yeah, it was. It generally actually surprised me when Frenchie came back. I forgot.
Yeah. Well,
within this issue where not a lot happens, it's like, Frenchie ends up saving the day. So, well, Anna really does, but...
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, I didn't expect that to be Frenchie as well, because he seemed pretty bunged up in the car. He was taken away to hospital. But you're right, it was Anna. She pretty much she has those incredible Hulk eyes, or the Wolverine Berserker eyes, and she
gets pissed off and just headbutts that dude right in the chin. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. So off he goes. I mean, the only thing that I guess can kill him is a large fall, and thankfully they are up high somewhere for him to fall. So there you go. But yeah, you get to see his little thing. I mean, he was talking about garroting as well, so he gets Moon Knight in that. And thankfully, within 5 seconds, Moon Knight manages to take his truncheon out and hit him.
The spot where he's breaking it over his head is a great panel.
Yeah. That
and one of the little like tricks that Moench uses too throughout this thing is about talking about his Moon Knight's emotion. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was really cool, like in the captions, talking about now he's... I gotta find a spot where he's talking about that.
Oh.
But there's just like certain... He's like now, basically kind of saying, now he's pissed, now he's sad, now he's whatever. But doing in these caption boxes that are really sort of a poetic way of just telling the story through the captions that way. And I would just wish there was sort of more of that instead of the, like I said before, the thought bubbles.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, he does. I mean, Moench just used a wide variety of thought bubbles, captions, and just your straightforward word balloons. What I see here is that thought bubble that Moon Knight has towards the end where, I guess to create tension, he is thinking, who's Samaro going to choose? He's going to choose Marlene or, Anna. Please choose Marlene.
Yeah, and he says, pick Marlene. That's great.
I find that pretty funny. But actually it shows...
Well, because he has such confidence in her that he knows that she could hold her own.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that's a great show. Underestimated Anna, though. I mean, she's got a mean headbutt, so...
Yeah, exactly. And... underestimated Frenchie because he's sneaky with what is he wearing, a helmet? What the hell is
that? I know, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
It's like a bandages, like I don't know.
He's got a bandage on his face, but but no, done really well. If anything, if we are to look at the art, there's one bit I found it strange. There's one earlier on of Mark Spector. I don't know if you thought it too, but he looks a little weird. He looks almost gangster-like.
Yeah, there's a weird face.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he's making he's like an angry. Yeah, he does, and he's like, what is he itching his neck or something?
James Dean kind of. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, he looks weird, kind of pug face and a pompadour for some reason. Yeah, it just looks like Sienkiewicz is maybe struggling with that
angle. Yeah. But everything else, other than that, he's quite consistent with Mark. I mean, you can tell when Mark is Mark, which is really good. And again, I know it sounds obvious, but sometimes artists make faces look all the same.
Yeah, same face. There's one really good shot, actually one whole page, where Mark, finds the come meet us at the Citadel at midnight thing. And he draws Mark screaming at the fact that it's come to the Citadel at midnight. Yeah. And he's like, no, great onomatopoeia, no. He's like, blood, it couldn't be on Marlene's blood. Oh, it's just paint, never mind. It's a good, funny fake out, but it's he looks kind of the second the first small panel, and he's reaching for the camera. Yeah. He looks really disturbed and kind of ugly, and I really kind of like that. It's it still looks like Mark, but it kind of it's like everybody has a cry ugly face.
A horrified. Exactly.
Yeah, when they emote like that, so it's kind of fun.
I thought that was a little funny as well. I know it probably wasn't meant to be, but he's so distraught and stuff, and then decides to lick. Take a bit of the red and lick it.
He's like, no, just paint.
Just so we know. It's like, no, it's just paint. That's funny, though.
No comics code. It could have been blood.
It could have been, yeah, which would have made it quite grisly. I mean, again, a synagogue was shot up. I mean, why not have...
he could have cut Marlene or something. And
exactly. Not that...
Manson family or whatever.
Not that we'd want that, but still, yeah. So quite interesting stuff here. I'm just going backwards a little bit on the the car chase scene. There's a little move that Moon Knight pulls, which is pretty cool. He kind of hooks his legs around the door and just flips back, again, to show you the agility of Moon Knight.
Yeah, that whole scene is that whole page where he takes the guy, jumps from the from the car he was driving, or I guess Frenchie was driving.
Yeah,
the car Frenchie was driving smashes through the window, takes one guy out by smashing his head into the wheel. The guy shoots at him, and he does that like very acrobatic sort of his legs hooked onto the car door and swings backwards. And the guy's like, "Ha, I got him!" And then the one small panel of the guy smiling with the smoking machine gun to the next one where Moon Knight just pops right back in his face. It's so good.
It's very cool. I mean, even the fact that like when he does bend backwards, you see him grab the bumper at the front, and I think that's great. I mean, it just shows that it's not like he's actually anchoring himself that way as well.
Yeah, it's a good attention to detail for that action.
But I tell you,
that's something that Doug Moench wouldn't write.
Exactly.
That Bill Sienkiewicz thought.
Yeah, for sure. And I tell you though, how unlucky is Frenchie with not public transport, with transport in general. I mean, he's been on the bad end of, the mooncopter and now this car. Like, the guy probably has to take his driving license again. Drivers, I don't know. No, it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Driving while distracted.
But
you can get a ticket for that now.
But it does show his loyalty to Mark as well, because he escapes the hospital against what I'm assuming the doctor's wishes to try and back up Mark. So there is a real bond that the two have here, which Moench he's trying to consolidate that throughout the series. But yeah, any other points here? I can't really, apart from, as you're saying, that the previous issues, references to other runs, it was just, this is can be seen as part of an overarching Nimrod Strange thing.
Yeah. It's funny that just Nimrod Strange seems to be, well, they're trying to have the sort of the classic dictator, but I found the caption where it talks about him being, it's like, for a man claiming to be an anarchist, Nimrod Strange plays Lord of the Manor extremely well. It's just funny. It's like,
it just shows just
the idea
double
of
standards.
Yeah, I guess, but like, it's kind of a classic comic book thing to sort of like, or it's not even, I mean, it's James Bond movies, whatever it is, like these anarchists. It's like, did you guys ever read the definition of what anarchist means? Yeah. I guess not.
No. Take a leaf out of the Joker, I guess. Or we should, it would be remiss also as well to not talk about, although there's not too much to say about it. There was an additional article at the end of this issue as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, the many phases of Moon Knight. And this is written by Alan Zelenitz, so listeners would recognize his name from The Fist of Khonshu. But it was basically a recap, wasn't it, Noel, from basically the origins. So it's a nice little...
Yeah, it's just basically like the recap of what we've got from from editor-writer point of view of what's happened so far. And he was like, here's, just in case you've... picked up on issue 18, here's what you can go, and even has the issue numbers and everything you need through Moon Knight's history, basically saying it's like, started as a villain, and then we thought he was great, and for some reason we gave him his own series eventually, and here's some of his villains, and he was in the Defenders in a weird drawing. And,
I guess before the internet, this was what you really needed to look up. If you are a casual or an interested fan, this would be perfect for you. Oh yeah, these were they were really needed, I think, especially with a new character like this, where people are saying like this book was only available at comic book shops, so they really had to sell it. There's the one really great panel they picked for here with Moon Knight coming in to talk to Captain America, and it must be Jarvis that he pushes aside. Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't stop him. And automatic defenses devices didn't seem to. They must be turned off. Can you imagine who would? He calls himself Moon Knight, and he's like, they know, pal. They summoned me.
It's a great angle as well. It's very
weird angle. Yeah, it's really strange. Really? It's cool. I don't know who drew that.
No, I'm pretty keen to find out. I can't recall that. So that's probably one of those other titles. But yeah, really cool.
Yeah, but it's a cool summation of like Moon Knight so far. Yeah. And a great Conqueror Lord panel.
Yeah, of the seminal Conqueror Lord panel. There you go. With his rats looking up his crotch. It's great.
Yep. As all good rats do.
Yeah. So that's really good. Like listeners, if you again,
it's a really simple. It's really one of those comic books that's kind of hard to talk about because you really have to read it.
Yeah.
Because not a lot happens, but there is some really good art and some good action, like well scripted in the art department action.
Yeah. It's again kind of how I always describe the Moench thing. It's really just a part of a whole of what he's building. I mean, if you look at like the individual blocks, they may not seem totally impressive or absolutely brilliant, but if you put them all together, it's really a classic run. Like if you look back at the Moench Sienkiewicz run and what he'd created across those 38 odd issues, just really, really good stuff. So you might get villains like this, the Slayers Elite that you never see again, but they're enough to kind of create nice action sequences. They're enough to kind of
some good cannon fodder.
Exactly, cannon fodder for thing. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the tone. There's a lot of introspection here, as you're saying, with Mark Spector as well. So Moench is really trying to, really trying to kind of work on this character and flesh him out. And we're talking about issue 18, so he's well into it. Like, it's almost a halfway mark. So
yeah, it's 2 years pretty much into it.
Yeah. So, really good. Would you like to give this a rating, Noel? If you could. Do you want me to get?
You go first. I want you to go first.
So I'm going to change my rating. I'm going to give this, but only because it's just look in the.
I talked you into it a little bit.
Well, in the scheme of things, it's not like I don't know. It's not like one of those issues that will be forever remembered and stuff. But it has all the hallmarks of what Sienkiewicz and Moench are doing to the character. So I think that's very good. And the fact that setting it in Jerusalem, something a little different, and they're doing that as well by having Mark globetrot all over the world is a good thing as well, making him really international. So I'd give it, using the vanilla rating, I bump it up to a waning gibbous, so a high end of that, about a 7 out of 10. It's 7 out of 10 for me. It's quite enjoyable. Something that I will go and reread again. Doesn't reach the heady heights of, I don't know what a top comic would be, but a 9 out of 10. It wouldn't be but yeah, it's up there. It's good. It's very solid, very consistent. And the art, of course, is always good to look at. So yeah, 7 out of 10. How about yourself?
I'm exactly with you. I would give it a solid round boy. Which would be a 7. I actually, upon going through it, that's what I was going to be, but I would say mine would be on the lower end, like almost like a 6.9, but we'll just go 7, just because there are a couple little art things that kind of, it's like, I mean, it's early Sienkiewicz, so it's not going to be some of his best. There's a couple of just things that are a little, like that one weird face where he looks like a gangster, and a couple other shots that are a little just too, like a not great version of Neil Adams, I guess. But the story overall, I think, is really fun and strong. And I mean, it's really simple. I mean, I don't think Doug had to think long and hard, but setting it like in Jerusalem, like right on the cover, it's cool. You see a small Jewish boy wearing a yarmulke, like watching Moon Knight punch this dude or hit him with the face with his truncheon. So yeah, I think it's a good book. Yeah. It's like, I don't know if non-Moon Knight fans would like it that much, because it's really kind of like, how is this guy? What? I mean, there's enough sort of monologuing on Moench's part to get caught up on what's happening, obviously, but I think maybe that's part of the reason why they threw that little backup info dump at the end of the book to be like, oh, and by the way, this is what's happened so far with Moon Knight.
Yeah, I'd agree with you as well. I think if you gave a non-Moon Knight fan this, they'll probably turn around to you and go, so what makes him so good again? Like, you know, what is so good about this?
Yeah.
And that's nothing to take away from the issue and the writing and stuff, but it's just that I guess it's locked into that particular style now and tone that as a Moon Knight reader, if you'd been reading the, you know, volume 1 from the beginning, and you kind of lock onto now. So I guess you can call it an acquired taste, because it's not like your other comic books. I've been reading the Moench Galassi Masters of Kung Fu, and that is phenomenal. But again, like if you give it to someone, it's very different. It's very espionage. But yeah, again, if you give it to someone who likes, I don't know, the Avengers or Spidey and stuff, it may not be their cup of tea. But similar with this, Moon Knight, although he's dressed up as a superhero, he really is just a dashing, you know, I don't know, agent, or as we call it, a poor man's James Bond kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good issue. Listeners, let us know what you think as well. But 7 out of 10 from both of us is pretty good. So,
yeah, and that's just as a Moon Knight fan, that's where I'll put it. But I can see somebody first time it might be like, this is not a good comic. Yeah, they would probably put it much lower.
Absolutely. I always
But really, you know, from a educated point of view, I guess we can rate it higher than what it maybe really would land in reality with other comic readers.
Absolutely, as well. I'd agree with you there. I always one of my co-host Noel Connor from the Last Sons of Krypton, he's always like, he asks me every now and again, you know, so I'd love to read a little bit of Moon Knight here and there. I'm kind of always a little hesitant to give him like one issue of a Doug Moench, you know, volume 1 run, because I know he probably will be underwhelmed. But exactly as you're saying, I think for the casual reader.
Well, you know you also know his taste.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a little different. Because I would say I can see Connor getting hit it.
Oh, yeah.
And him probably thinking, I don't know exactly what's going on. Because it's like a really basic, bare bones story. But it's so beautiful and so well told in its simplicity. I can see him being like, this is a cool comic.
I think he'd definitely appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, absolutely. If I gave him this one, though, be kind of like, you go, really? Because you like this guy? It's like, okay. Again, nothing to take away from it. 7 out of 10.
Well, isn't he he's a big Iron Fist fan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of those old Iron Fist comics you could pick up and get even worse.
Oh, yeah. Connor admits it as well. Like, he is, there are some woeful like issues like he just totally hates, you know? Yeah, so anyway, hopefully, you know, I can... It's only every now and again that he'll ask about Moon Knight, so maybe I should come up with a couple of issues. Maybe Hit It is one of them.
Yeah. Think of the perfect 3 Doug Moench, or at least volume 1 issues.
Yeah.
I think the introduction of Scarlet would be pretty good too.
Yeah, I'd say that too as well. Yeah, he likes.
There's a good question for the comments. Is just what 3 volume 1 specifically comics would you pick out to give to somebody who's never read Moon Knight before?
Very interesting. Yeah, Loonies, join the chat, join the comments there. That'll be interesting to hear. Hit It, Scarlet, Stained Glass Scarlet, and maybe even 25. I think with Black
25
with Black
would be
Spectre. Good. I think that's
for me. I was thinking that or issue 1.
Issue 1, yeah. Yeah, you get Bushman. You get the origin.
Yeah, you kind of get the origin. Actually, I really like issue 2 personally more than issue 1.
Oh, Crawley's son, right? The Slayer. Yeah, that was an interesting thing. That's never been picked up again, has it? Like Crawley had a serial killer son. It's God, forgot about that.
The slasher,
or
Slayer, not slasher.
Slasher, Slayer, Sniper. It's all, you know.
Awesome.
Anyway, thank you, Knol. Huge thank you. A little bit jolted our review there with a cameo of little Finn. Hopefully, I've cleaned it up in the edit there. But for those, for those that with the video, we just seen little Finn here. I think he discovered like it's not that exciting in what Papa's doing in here. So he wanted to go out straight away, and he's fine now.
Yeah, Stella will do the same sometimes if I'm doing something. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, this. And she's like, well, that's not cool. I'm like, yeah. I think it's cool, but I'm a nerd, so whatever, kid. Get the hell out of here.
So yeah, maybe it was a stroke of genius to let Finn in. Anyway, no, a huge thank you, Knol. Been awesome having a chat.
Yeah, good to see you.
And next phase, listeners, for our next 206, 207, we're going on the other side of a LUNAR-PICK. It's a waxing crescent, and that will be a modern run review. So I will be joined by Russell Moran, new kid on the block, and host 2 tomes of Evil. And we'll be looking at a Vengeance of the Moon Knight issue. I can't remember the one exactly, but it's the one with Scarecrow on it, because he loves Scarecrow, the DC version. But there is a Marvel version of the same name, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Sometimes Hero.
Oh, is he? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that should be good. I haven't read that in a while, so we'll have Russell on there. Should be fun. Listeners, as mentioned at the top of the show, Patron. If you go to patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight, please have a look. A lot of incentives there to join. I've just updated the logo for the merch stuff, so it's something a little different. It's the headphones one. Go check it out. Also, Hello Headphones, if you use the code ITK Moon Knight, you'll get 10% off their online store. Dreamland Comics, if you use the code MOON, you'll get 20% off their online store. So all your back issues, go find your issue 18, go have a look at that Crackerjack ad and that and those ads for Marvel Fanfare. Marvel Fanfare, bring that back. I love that series.
Me too. I love it.
Yeah. So you can find all of that at Dreamland Comics and get yourself 20% off as well. Also, we're an affiliate member to Entertainment Earth, so any purchases of your action toy figures, please use the link, and that will help the show as well. And finally, we are part of the collective, so awesome shows like I mentioned Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist show run there by Connor McKenna, Resurrections, the Thanos and Adam Warlock podcast, or We Are Venom Maniacs, a Venom podcast. There's a whole list of them. Go check it out in the link. A lot of great listening material there. Finally, you can contact us, email at itkmoonnight@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, Get Vocal. We've got a website. Websites seem to be a little obsolete these days, Knol, with social media. I don't know. What do you think? Do you ever visit the website? Or...
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Actually, for old episodes sometimes to remember, wait, which episode? So I can search the page and be like,
okay.
Go to my podcast catcher and re-listen to that episode.
Oh, okay. So they have a use.
Like, which one did we discuss, whatever? Like, did we ever discuss issue 18 before? Did you and
that's
Khonshu ever discuss it? Things like that. Well, so the website comes in handy.
That's true. I'd say onto that as well. I think it's because maybe we did a Nimrod Strange one before, because I do recall those bodyguards, but maybe not this one. Anyway, use the website, listeners, to check that out. Also, we're on Podchaser as well, so you can leave a review there or on Apple Podcasts. That would really help the show, so it'll be so cool if you can. Anyway, Knol, a big thank you again. What are you going to do for the rest of the afternoon, evening? You're still in the prime of your day. Yeah,
I'm going to cook dinner.
Excellent. What do we got? What do we got on the menu?
Yeah. Some stir-fry noodles.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. With vegetables and tofu and some probably curry.
Sounds very healthy. Far out. Got to get back on a health kick. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to have a little look, see how the little fella's going. But with that, listeners, bid you farewell, and as always, may Khonshu watch over their denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Goodbye.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.